Jesus more.
So, my dear friends, today in the Gospel, we hear again once more about a widow, and the reason might be for having a widow in the Gospel today might be because Luke is, like I said at the beginning, is very concerned about the poor and the marginalized and those who are sinful. But also the second reason is because of what the widow stands for from the time of when the people of Israel even left Egypt. One of the social laws was that the widows were the most protected. They were considered the poorest in society. One of the social laws in Exodus chapter 22, I think, 22 from verse 21, it says that if you maltreat the widow, they will cry out to me, the widows and the orphans, those two. If you maltreat the widow or the orphans, they will cry out to me, and I will hear them speedily, and my anger will flare up, and I will kill you, so that your wives will become widows and your children orphans. So it was so important that the law protected the widows and the orphans. Why? Because they had no one protecting them. Their husbands were dead, so they had no security, they had no one to fight for them, they had no one to protect them. They only had God. The same thing with the orphans. They did not have fathers, so there was nobody to protect them, because the men were considered those who could protect those who were more valuable, even more than the women. So then we have the context of this woman in the gospel who is a widow. She cannot get a lawyer. She has no one to fight for her. She has no husband, therefore there is nobody who can push for her cause. So it's very difficult for her. So she's left with nothing but to cry out to the judge herself, because she has no one. She has no money to pay for a lawyer. She has no strength to be able to fight her adversary. So she goes to the judge and she begins to ask the judge to give her justice, because she has no one. And I think the points that Jesus makes in this gospel is the dependence that this woman has, not on any other thing but on herself and the judge. And he says this is the approach we must have towards prayer, that we must not depend, we must not have option B when it comes to prayer. We must not have plan B, that if plan A fails, if God does not listen to me, then I'm going to turn to another thing and do. No. The widow's mind knew that he has nothing, nobody to fight for her. She only has to fight for her own cause. She has to insist and persist on her justice from the judge. This is what we must do, especially when it comes to prayer, that we must become like widows, knowing that we have nobody except God. We only have God who can fight for us. And therefore, we must continuously hit Him. We must continuously ask. We must continuously seek. We must continuously knock at that door, that God would open it for us. And again, because He assures us again at the end of the gospel that if the unjust judge could listen to the cry of the widow, what about a God who loves us, who is a father to us? Will He not answer us whenever we cry out to Him? And that's why I don't know when, but I know I remember saying here that God always answers our prayers. There is no prayer that goes in vain. At times we give up because maybe it is not coming the way we expect it, or maybe God is not giving us exactly what we are asking for, and at times we really get tired of praying. And Jesus says in the gospel today, we must not stop praying because it is not coming forth. We must not stop asking because we do not see it coming, or because we feel, oh God has stopped listening to us. No, we must continuously ask. We must continuously pray. In St. Paul's first letter to the Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 17, he says we must pray unceasingly. We must pray without stopping. In St. Paul's letter to the Romans, he repeats that again, chapter 12, verse 12, that we must pray ceaselessly. So it might not be what we see coming forth. We might not be seeing it, but our prayers are never unanswered. God always answers our prayers God always gives us a reply. It might not be the way we want it, it might not be at the time that we expect it, it might not be the parcel that we are expecting that we get, but we always get something that is better, at least better than what we are asking for. So, my dear friends, it is another reminder for us not to give up on God, because God does not give up on us. At times He seems to be slow, but at the appointed time, He would always answer us. The time that is not fixed by us, but the time that He knows is the best for us. Let us therefore continue to ask our Blessed Mother to intercede for us, especially on this day, that we may be able to persevere, especially in times of prayer.
Kiss us, Mother, kiss your children. Bring God's blessings from above. With your mantle blue enfold us in your gentle holy love. See the darkness dissipating, hear the trumpet echoing, Satan's rage